Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Yvonne Heath with Love Your Life to Death, and I'm so happy to have in the studio Reverend James Thompson and also Leela Gamble. Reverend James Thompson and I talk about the move away from religion, which a lot of people have chosen to do over the past many decades, but how not having any spiritual path or community leads to excessive suffering in life and when you're dealing with grief, death, and dying. Leela also agrees and shares her perspective, which is from a Buddhist perspective, two very different viewpoints, but nonetheless very important, and I share them both with you. And you can decide what resonates with you and what doesn't. Here's a short clip. And you have attended many funerals of...
Many.
Yes, and also of... suicide, teen suicides, and sudden infant death syndrome and traumas. And so you've seen close up a lot of grief, death, and dying, and had people turning to you for guidance. And it's a huge undertaking. It's a huge role. And I'm sure you did a wonderful job.
Well, the experience of it, as far as I'm concerned, emphasizes again the extreme importance of being part of a religious community, because some of the, in terms of those crib deaths that came sort of one on top of the other there at one point in time, one family who were part of the congregation that I was a minister of, they dealt with it. It was a very terrible event for them, especially for the mother. But they dealt with it really quite differently from another family. There was no sense of community behind this at all. In fact, the family was rather badly divided. The husband's family really didn't like the wife, and consequently, when this baby died, they really loaded down on her with a tremendous guilt. It was her fault. She didn't watch. She wasn't doing this, that, and the next thing. It's just a lot of baloney.
You are devoted to helping people along in their spiritual path, but that wasn't always your path, because you were a Wall Street banker for many years. And then you ended up in a cabin in Algonquin Park, which I guess would be quite a transition, obviously. You founded the Montessori School in Huntsville, and you have been a practicing Buddhist for over 25 years.
Over 25 years.
Yes, incredible. So welcome. And
thank you.
Yeah, so when we talk about a crisis of spirit at the end of life, what would you say to that?
Well, certainly at the end of life, a crisis of spirit can happen for people if they have done no exploring of their spiritual side.
Yes.
But I think a crisis of spirit can happen anytime in one's life. Certainly, I had a crisis of spirit when I made the decision to leave my Wall Street job and move to a cabin in the woods in Canada.
Yes.
There was a real crisis of spirit that led up to that. So end of life is certainly a time when that can manifest, but the point is it can manifest any time.
Yes.
And so my whole thought, having been raised with no religion whatsoever, that it's important for people to look for a spiritual path. We live in a culture that is so materialistic. People have moved away from organized religion, as you have spoken about, and they have kind of thrown the baby out with the bathwater, because there is a great mystery of life, the great mystery of life. And if you think about most organized religions or spiritual paths, they have come from the fact that people want to know what happens when I die.